All right, welcome to the WaterBoys. Whoa. There it is. Welcome to the WaterBoys College Football Pregame Show, live from Death Valley, powered by Pro Dreams, right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is our second week in Baton Rouge. LSU versus Florida this week, and a little bit different than last week versus Louisiana Tech, even though that game was a little bit closer than probably LSU fans would have liked.
Yeah, a little different.
But we won't be really talking about that game. We'll be talking more about that game at the 3 o'clock here at Pro Dreams. But how's it going, buddy? Ready for week 3 of college football?
Ready for week 3. And my Buckeyes got little brother coming to town tonight. We haven't lost to an in-state Ohio team since 1923.
Yeah,
1921. I don't know. Sometime way back in the roaring 20s, we haven't lost to an in-state rival or team since. So.
All right, yeah, let's not start that anytime soon. All right, let's get into it. We got some games we're going to talk about, plus some Heisman talk this morning. We got you for about an hour. We're going to cram it all in. We're going to keep it nice and clean and neat, I promise. But let's get right into some of the big games today. Number 19, Alabama taking on Wisconsin down at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This isn't a game that probably going into the year we would have been interested in at all, Strez, but this, I'm kind of look at it as Alabama needs to get back on track and figure out what is going on. Is Alabama really that down or not? Because Wisconsin traditionally is a team that's going to beat you up in the trenches. They're going to do everything they can to slow the game down. They're going to make it ugly if they can. And the trenches is kind of where the biggest questions have been for Alabama the last 3 weeks for us. That are college football nuts. It's weird to say that Alabama's got questions about toughness in the trenches, but that it has kind of been the case. So they're going to have Wisconsin down at Bryant-Denny. What are you thinking? What do you want to see from Alabama today?
I want to see if last week was just a flash in the pan. I mean, they went and blew out ULM, and we talked about it a little bit on the show this week. Are they good? Are they bad? Was it just that Was it just that Florida State is really good this year? What was it? Why did the Crimson Tide look that way in week 1 and then come out and look the way that they did in week 2? But now the question is maybe they're not as bad as we thought they were. Maybe Florida State's just really good. So I want to see them come out and kind of repeat what they did last week. They were very successful on offense. They scored on almost every single drive that they had last week. Put up 63 points. So it's a high likelihood that maybe Bama wasn't as bad as we thought they were going into week 2. But again, I think this is going to be, like you said, this is going to be a real test again. The first real test that Bama had, they lost that game. So it'll be interesting to see how this one shakes out, especially against this Wisconsin team. Wisconsin's been down for a couple seasons over the past several years, but they're 2-0 right now. They've been playing some decent football, coming off of a 42-10 win last week against Middle Tennessee State. So they're playing some good ball. They're playing some good ball. Danny O'Neal, the quarterback with the mullet out there in Wisconsin, looking at his stats from last week. 85% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 202.5 passer rating. So he's one thing that Wisconsin typically hasn't had over the last several years. I mean, they've had them in the past, but the last couple of years they haven't had a quarterback that could beat you over the top. It's been mostly just running the football. So if Wisconsin can get a little bit of a balance there, this could be a really fun football game to watch.
Yeah, Ty Simpson last week, 17 for 17, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. Didn't have a running back or a wide receiver go for 100 yards. That is kind of weird when you see that you're scoring 73 points or whatever in a game. But yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning of the year maybe we were a little more alarmist, just because we were all a little jaded about how bad Florida State was last season.
Yeah.
But it looks like Florida State is probably a lot better than a lot of people thought they were. But that still doesn't, Alabama losing their first, Alabama losing their first game of the year by such a wide margin. And then, Louisiana Monroe, you do exactly what you're supposed to do, which is kick the living dog crap out of them. That's why you schedule teams like that. And then today, 11 o'clock kickoff, can they just get it right? And if you're, if you're Kellen or if Kellen, wow, if you're DeBoer, next week you've got Georgia.
Yeah.
And you're going to do everything you can to get, AP voters to keep you in the top 25 because, if you get a lucky break, maybe College Game Day is there. Who knows? I mean, it's, kind of going to be a big test for them. And then they've got Vanderbilt to come in the week after, which apparently we used to be able to count on Vanderbilt just being like a team you just went in there and dog walk. Apparently that doesn't happen in college football anymore, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah, last year Vandy was the team that knocked Alabama out of the college football playoff, essentially.
Yeah, and then they don't get a break. They're going to play, 4, 5, 6 ranked teams. I mean, this is the stuff we're talking about when we talk about that. If you get the wrong shake in a schedule in the SEC, it can get rough really quick.
Especially if you start slow.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a run where you're really gonna be, asked to do a lot to be able to get enough wins. I just want to see Alabama play disciplined football today. I think that's a big question that we've had is can they play disciplined football? Can we limit the penalties? Can we limit the mistakes? And it's easy to look really good against, a team like Louisiana Monroe. But also that did give you a chance to maybe correct some stuff. That's a game that you can kind of, this sounds terrible, but you kind of treat it like a joint practice type of thing and go, hey, we're going to look at some stuff. We're going to work on some stuff. We're going to try to get some things right. So maybe Alabama has figured some stuff out. There hasn't been as much Alabama talk this last week as there was the week before, but there still has been, a lot of question marks with them. Somebody looking for them to try to maybe prove a point today.
Yeah. Kalen DeBoer, I think Kalen DeBoer's seat cooled off a lot.
Yeah.
After 73 points will do that for a head coach pretty much anywhere that they're coaching. And it kind of feels like it just kind of hopped south and went down to Gainesville. So I think Kalen DeBoer is probably feeling a little bit at ease, a little bit more at peace, but they have to come out. I mean, Wisconsin is a perennial Big Ten powerhouse. I mean, they've been down the last couple of years, but so is Florida State, and we saw what Florida State did. So this will be an interesting game. I think we'll learn a lot about both of these teams in this game. It is weird. Wisconsin has played exactly how you'd want them to play over the last couple of games, and they're coming into this game as a 20.5-point underdog, which is kind of crazy, especially after seeing Bama dropping one game at the beginning of the season and then beating a really bad UL Monroe team. Kind of an interesting spread there from Vegas, especially when the over-under is only 45.5. Are they thinking that Alabama's going to not let Wisconsin score? Is that what we're looking at here? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, it is a little different. And like you said, this isn't the same Wisconsin that we're used to seeing, but we do know they can control pace of play a little bit if they want to. They'll eke out a couple of first downs and it make you think, okay, well, they're moving the ball. You look up at the clock. They've had the ball for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of the way that they play football. Big game today. Number one game in the country, I guess. I am going to make a case that our third game we're going to talk about is the number one game in the country, but College Game Day thinks that number 6 Georgia and number 15 Tennessee is the number one game in the country. Neyland Stadium, Knoxville. That place is going to be wild today.
It is. It's a shame that this is a 2:30 kick.
Yeah,
this feels like one of those games that needs to be a night game under the lights in Neyland Stadium. You got Georgia coming to town, 2 dogs fighting each other on the sidelines. I don't think that'll happen. Don't let that happen.
Yeah, please don't.
But yeah, this will be a fun game. I think Tennessee is looking to shut some people up. Joey Aguilar's been playing some good ball. After seeing how bad Nico Maliava and UCLA looked last night.
Gosh.
They are 0-3, dude. What is going on in UCLA? I'm sure Tennessee
you go from going 10-3 at Tennessee the year before, then you
in the college football playoff.
Schools. Yeah, and now you're 0-3. I mean,
yeah,
that's wild.
Just unbelievable fall off for Nico. And I know that they're loving that there in Tennessee. I mean, I got a chance to catch a little bit of the College Game Day this morning, and they were chanting Nico sucks and overrated and like all this kind of stuff. And
they should.
It was crazy. It was crazy. The best sign that I saw this morning was they cut over to Pete Thamel, the good old buddy Pete Thamel. If you want to come on the show, by the way, you're welcome anytime, Pete. If you got any more breaking news about any cheating scandals from the team up north, you can break that on the WaterBoys. But there was a sign right over his shoulder, and it said Kirby Fart. I thought that was the best sign that
That's a
I've
good
seen
one.
on college. That's just the classic, easy, just it's low hanging fruit, but it is funny. That was a good one. So Neyland's ready to go. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a little wild. I think it's a story that has kind of been the story since Heupel got to Tennessee. It's going to be Georgia's defense versus the up-tempo offense of Tennessee. You know, we really going into the year not really sure what to expect out of Tennessee because the quarterback with Joey Aguilar seems to be like he's the guy. Maybe there's a reason that Nico saw some writing on the wall. Maybe Heupel saw something that the rest of the country just missed, which wouldn't be shocking. Heupel's an unbelievable offensive mind, knows what he's doing.
Very true.
You know, Tennessee, I maybe they were a little low in the polls at the beginning of the year because of the quarterback stuff, but they seem to, you know, be a team that can contend. Georgia, it's hard to say, you know, it's hard to hear myself say was Georgia down. I mean, because they've just, you know, rode the mountaintop for a stretch there that was pretty unprecedented. But, you know, I think Georgia can obviously make another college football playoff run. It'd be interesting to see if Tennessee can make a run this year. And they're going to get tested tonight because Georgia's defense is good. I mean, they're just really. I keep saying tonight because there's just no. Why in the world is this game not at 6:30? I do not understand that.
Well, they had to make room for the Ohio State game to be on the prime. I'm just kidding. That game's on like the.
Well, I mean, I think I go into it 2 weeks ago. You thought, well, LSU Florida, that's going to be a ranked matchup, and it turns out Florida is not.
Yeah,
that's not good.
No, this game is really interesting. I actually had a conversation a little bit with the college football nerds on Twitter this week, which, by the way, great show. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to sit down and watch their show, but it's a great show. Would love to have them on. But they had kind of posed a question about give me your shocking upset for this weekend, and I said not necessarily a shocking upset, but I'm taking the Vols to beat Georgia. Spoiler alert for when we get into the picks portion. And they said I picked Tennessee as well. Not shocking. I also have no idea how confidently picking that game in either direction. And I said, honestly, same thing. I don't really know what either of these teams are this year. And I think it's because they haven't really played anybody. And this game, and they haven't really looked like world beaters in either of those, the first 2 weeks. So I think going into this game, I think this is the week that we're going to learn a lot about Kirby Smart and this new Georgia offense. And we're going to learn a lot about Tennessee and what Josh Heupel is able to pull out of literally any quarterback that he has dressed out as his starter. So this is really our first real look at these two teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. And yeah, like I couldn't tell you what either team's strength is right now. Obviously, Georgia is always really strong in the trenches. Obviously, Tennessee is always really good at the wideout position in quarterback. Is that the case this year? We just don't know. It's gonna be a fun football game, I think.
All right, the third game that we're going to talk about, I think, is the most interesting game in college football this week. South Florida versus number 5 Miami. I don't know what is going on at South Florida.
Dude, something's in the water.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my head. Even when I look at the graphic, you know, when I see it buzzing around, I think, okay, isn't this supposed to be a dog walk game? We keep saying, and we said it for 3 weeks now, you know, how good is South Florida? How good is South Florida? Well, good enough that they just keep beating top 25 teams. So I don't really know. I going into the year when we were, when I was doing my research coming into the year, I didn't put a whole lot of time into researching South Florida. But, you come in ranked number 18 in the AP top 25 poll. You've beat back-to-back top 25 teams. You've got something that's working. And unfortunately, they're going to face the same thing that a lot of teams face, that are similar, whether it was UCF a few years ago. People are looking to figure out, when is South Florida going to slow down? When is this going to stop? When is, this momentum going to swing? And they might find out against Miami today, or Miami might find out, like a bunch of other teams have this year so far, that South Florida is a really good football team.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for Miami is they do have Carson Beck at quarterback. They've got a guy that can sling it, and he's been playing a ton of football, and he looked really, really good against, Florida State that first week. So, I mean, it's just, or not Florida State, Notre Dame that first week. So there's a lot of question marks there, but I have a hard time not convincing myself that South Florida can stay in this football game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think South Florida's got a dog at quarterback. Byron Brown has been one of the funnest players to watch this season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've already beat Boise State, who was a college football playoff team last season. They've already beat Florida, who everybody had, being led by the Heisman favorite. I don't know, maybe DJ Lagway's leg injury that held him out of camp for a little bit is maybe keeping him from being able to be at his full potential. I don't know what's going on there.
I want to be completely 100% transparent on this. We were high on DJ Lagway going all the way back to April. So we have been on the DJ Lagway train. I don't think we were wrong, but something does not appear to be right with him.
Yeah, it's something seems just off. And you just look at this team. I learned a little bit more about their head coach this morning. He is an Ohio State alum, by the way. Fun fact about Alex Skullish. Was born in Moscow.
A man of culture.
So they got some Russian toughness in that locker room at head coach. Maybe that's what's making the difference there. So you got
it's like the UFC. If any of them are from Dagestan or Russia, you're just
like, this is a surefire W. But yeah, he's born in Russia. Don't know when he came to the States, but you got a Russian coaching Byron Brown, and this team just, they're fun to watch. They're not a boring football team. And so I have a question for you about this. So after this Miami game, they've got South Carolina State, Charlotte, North Texas, Florida Atlantic, Memphis, UTSA, Navy, Alabama, Birmingham, and Rice. If they lose this game and they keep it close, South Florida stays in the top 25 maybe and then wins out. Does South Florida make the college football playoff this year?
I mean, I was going to ask, I was kind of the same thing last night as we were putting this stuff together. I kept thinking, how does South Florida not make the college football playoff if they're able to keep this game close? And, nationally, no one cared about this game. The CW has got this game, which basically means we don't care about this game. But, quarterback's thrown for 473 yards. I mean, they've got, good. I mean, my gosh, I have a hard time saying if they keep this game close, let's say they lose a close one and then they win out the rest of their schedule. I don't put them in the same boat as like an SMU or a Boise State that we were complaining about last year with the college football playoff, where we looked at their opponents over the season and said, did they win enough big games? Did they have enough things going on? South Florida has proven that they can beat a team. And like you were mentioning, with what's left on their schedule, they can really throw all their eggs in one basket. They can open the playbook up as much as they want to, as creative as they want to. And you've got one coach, that is basically saying, hey, I'm coaching, I can coach with my, what's hanging out, because what do I got to lose? And then it's always a weird place to put an opposing coach in when you're supposed to beat a team called South Florida. Forget like who they beat this season. Forget all that. You're supposed to beat a team called South Florida. So it's really going to come down to, can Miami and Carson Beck be able to handle everything that they're going to throw at them? Because if I'm South Florida, whatever's in the bag, whatever like weird play, whatever weird formation, whatever weird blitz package that you've kind of, been playing around with in practice, throw it in. What do you got to lose?
No, that's absolutely right. I want to see. It's weird for me to say that I'm rooting for someone in this game, but I'm rooting for the Bulls this year. Like, they're that team that you just kind of want to see win games. Like Boise State was that team last year. You're like, I want to see one of these group of 5 schools get into the big dance at the end of the season. I want to see them make it through to the end of the season and get a chance to play for it all. And so, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like, onside kicks, trick plays, fake punts, fake field goals, double reverse passes, Statue of Liberty, like everything that you can think of, I'll give it to us. Because there might be a chance. I don't know if the coaches are feeling this, but I feel like the players might be feeling this. They're probably thinking, South Florida, we got this in the bag.
Right.
Like, we're Miami. We're the U. We play for the U. So if they don't come out ready to go, this could be a little too close for comfort for some Miami fans and some Miami players. So this is going to be a fun football game, especially looking forward to next week against Florida, and then the week after that they've got Florida State. It's just a really interesting game, and I didn't think this was going to even remotely be like a blip on the radar at this point in the season.
And the stadium will be loud. Hard Rock has rocked the last couple of games there. It's they've kind of got some juice there. And if you're South Florida, I mean, this is a big recruiting game. You're gonna have a lot of eyeballs on you if you play, which they have played an exciting brand of football. They're throwing the ball all over the field. They have a good running game. They've got a lot of stuff that they get to show. It kind of sucks that it's on the CW at 3:30 because
has there ever been a football game on the CW ever before?
Last night when I saw it, I almost thought maybe because we were up so late, I thought maybe I was just seeing things. No, it turns out this morning it is on the CW. So I've never watched a football game on the CW. Not even sure what channel that is here in Baton Rouge, but we will figure it out. Speaking of Baton Rouge, we're live from Death Valley this morning at Pro Dreams right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're here for the tailgate takeover, the Washed Up Sports tailgate takeover. We will be live back at 3:30 forecasting the LSU Florida game. Last game we're going to break down before we get into some Heisman talk and then our picks. Number 16 Texas A&M and number 8 Notre Dame. Now this one is in South Bend. Two schools that are kind of in similar places this season so far. Notre Dame has lost a game that nobody saw coming early in the year. We didn't really know what we were getting with Miami. Turned out Miami's, really, really good. A&M travels really well, so I would expect there to be quite a bit of, Aggies there. I still believe in Notre Dame. I still believe in Marcus Freeman. I still think that Notre Dame is a really good football team. I would expect them to be in the college football playoff. But I do want to see some consistency out of Notre Dame today. I want to see some consistency on offense. I want to see them, be consistent on defense. That was kind of what I saw when they were playing Miami. Is I realized, man, if you got a quarterback can get out and move a little bit, a guy that can really drop it in the breadbasket when he needs to from throwing the ball downfield, that you could create some problems for Notre Dame. I don't know that Texas A&M can do that, and especially in South Bend. No clue.
Yeah. I think this will be one of the tougher defenses that A&M has faced yet this season. But that quarterback has been really fun to watch this season. Marcel Reed. He's kind of cut from that Johnny Manziel cloth. Really athletic. Can throw it really well, but can also take off. I think he leads the team in rushing.
Yep.
So it'll be an interesting matchup, especially after the way that we saw Notre Dame start the season. But again, how good is Miami this year? Maybe Miami's the truth this year. Maybe that's why that game was the way it was. So I expect this game to be a real test for both of these schools. Is A&M are they worthy of being in the top 25? Is it just kind of getting a little bit of that SEC bump for Texas A&M? Because they kind of have that traditional year in and year out. They go 8-4. It's kind of the joke around everywhere. So, is this the year that they don't do that? Is this the year that they actually put some points up on the board and win some games that they're not supposed to win, and lose some games that they're not supposed to lose? We'll see what happens with this game. But again, I mean, it's Notre Dame. They're coming off of being in the college football national championship game. I think C.J. Carr is a really talented quarterback. I think they have the best running back in the country in Jeremiah Love, and I think that this has a Jeremiah Love breakout game written all over it for me. Like, we've been waiting for him to have his game yet this season. We've kind of been wondering, like, where's Jeremiah Love at? Like, what's going on here? This feels like the game that it's going to be, feed the beast. let the best running back in the country go out and win you a football game. And it would be the perfect time to do it at home tonight.
And unlike a lot of teams, they didn't play last week, so they've had plenty of time to lick their wounds. They've had plenty of time to get in the film room, figure out what went wrong. Even though they lost week 1, they get that fun Notre Dame bump where they just get to stay in the top 10.
Yeah,
that's always fun. And A&M, this is a big game for them. They've got Auburn coming in next week. I don't believe in Auburn. I've made it very clear on the show. I think Jackson Arnold is not a good quarterback. I don't necessarily believe in it. So I think they could probably, if they can, pick up one here, A&M, and then pick up one against Auburn. And they've got Mississippi State coming in, which apparently is not a walk in the park anymore. Mississippi State can play football again.
They're scoring some points, dude. They're crazy. They look crazy this year.
Man, Jeff Levy bringing a brand of football down to Mississippi State that they haven't seen since RIP coach. Yeah, and I think A&M. I would normally say, oh man, Notre Dame, South Bend, that place will be rocking. It'll be crazy. I mean, that A&M plays, their home games are pretty.
It'll be nothing for the team that has the 12th man as a thing.
Yep. All right, let's get into some Heisman talk. Obviously, number one story that has been trending all over social media the last 2 weeks, John Mateer is that dude. There's a dude that comes along in college football every couple of years that just you feel like loves playing football more than everybody else. He has a very solid handle on what he can and can't do as a quarterback. And right now, so much of Oklahoma's offense relies on John Mateer to be the playmaker. He's probably going to get more opportunities, especially with Oklahoma's schedule, to have those Heisman moments that everybody likes talking about. And he has been kind of the talk of the town, and I get it. Like, even as an Oklahoma fan, I mean, I made it pretty clear at the beginning of the year. I wasn't real sure what we were getting in John Mateer. I maybe let some of the national media talking about, well, you could do that at Washington State. It's not the same deal. And you come down to the SEC. But every opportunity that he's been given, he's not only made the most of it. What I am really impressed with is even against Michigan, where Oklahoma wasn't able to run the ball like they wanted to, they weren't able to do some of the things in the passing game that they wanted to, which is understandable. Michigan, that's a good football team at the end of the day. And number one quarterback recruit coming in, in the country coming in, it's almost like Mateer takes that stuff personal, where he wants to prove a point that I am better than you. Obviously they play Temple today. He's probably going to be able to put up some numbers. And then they don't really get a break. I mean, they play Auburn the next week. Then they got Kent State. And then they've got Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU to finish out the year. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to show if and why he is the best quarterback in the country. Is he just that far ahead of everybody else at this point in the Heisman race?
I feel like he is. I feel like he kind of is. It's his award to lose. I'm looking at some of the odds places. I like Kalshi because it kind of is based on forecasting and stuff like that. He took the lead from Garrett Nussmeier last week, it looks like. 13% chance of winning the Heisman for John Mateer, 12% chance for Garrett Nussmeier. Everybody else is 9% or lower. So kind of an interesting thing what's going on here. But I think, what it's going to come down to, I think it really is between Garrett Nussmeier and John Mateer at this point. It's kind of a two-man race. And it's going to come down to who has a Heisman moment. And maybe it's that week 12 game or week 13, I guess. I don't know what week that would be. But that last game of the season, when OU plays LSU, we've got the John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier game. That'll be a big game for the WaterBoys because we've been very high on both of these quarterbacks all season long. So that could be the game that kind of decides what happens if both of these guys don't slip up this season. But, man, John Mateer, he leads the team in rushing. He's obviously been passing the ball really, really well. I think he's got a 71%, basically a 72% completion percentage. So he's accurate. He's efficient. He's only taken 2 sacks this season on, 71-plus dropbacks. He's playing some really good ball. And OU is playing some really complimentary football behind it with a really good defense. So, I mean, I think OU is poised to have a really big year, regardless of how tough their schedule is. And if they can keep it going, and John Mateer, leads the wagon, so to speak, I guess it would be a schooner. I should have used the word schooner here, but if John Mateer can lead the schooner and they can keep things clean, I think he's the absolute favorite to win the Heisman here.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of circled the 2 games on the schedule that he's probably going to get the most opportunities to have those Heisman moments. I think John Mateer for the very first time going to Dallas at the Cotton Bowl for the Red River rivalry could be, if this continues over the next couple of weeks to look the way it's looking, could be one of the most epic Red River rivalries we've had in at least the last 5 years.
It's been a minute.
Because you're going to have the quarterback that was the darling of
preseason Heisman winner.
Yeah, the guy that we were just basically saying, yeah, it's Arch Manning's Heisman to lose against can this translate to the SEC? I still believe in Garrett Nussmeier. In fact, I think today with LSU Florida is a perfect opportunity for him to kind of even the odds a little bit, to even the playing field. I would love, just from a college football perspective, and just because we are college football nuts, I would love to be able to get down to that last game of the year, and it feels like it is a neck and neck race, and then these 2 dudes are going to strap it up and play for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. No, that would be sweet.
I can't think of the last time that would have happened.
I mean, Troy Smith, Vince Young.
Yeah.
That's the last one that really comes to mind. Darren McFadden, Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
That was the same year, though, basically the same time frame. So you kind of have to go back to that 07, 08 era of when you kind of had those kinds of matchups. And if these 2 teams win out, I mean, they both have really tough schedules ahead of them. That'll be a top 3 matchup, depending on what happens through the AP poll. And we'll have college football rankings at that point. So it'll be these are the legit rankings. So you get, number 3 OU at home against number 2 LSU. That'll be a really crazy game to watch. So yeah, man, I really hope that that's the case. Sooners did me a favor last week, taking care of business against the team up north. So they've got my support throughout the season, and they're not playing, my hometown Razorbacks anytime this season either. So it'll be easy to kind of pull for the Sooners this season. So, but yeah, man, John Mateer has just been awesome. Can we get him on the show? Let's get John Mateer on the
I'm gonna see what I can do. You've
got some connections. You could probably make that happen.
Work some connections, see what we can do. We don't do this very often, but if you're in the chat and you have some feedback on the Heisman race or a game today, let us know in the chat. We're going to pick games here in a second. So if you've got a game you're interested in, or if you got some thoughts, let us know. Speaking of Heisman, though, I don't want to forget Jeremiah Smith. I was looking at Ohio State's schedule. There's a lot of opportunities on here for him to put up a lot of yards.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously today you're playing Ohio. I would expect a big game from him.
They got a good team, so I feel like the starters will have to play most of the game.
Yeah, you got Washington next week. That's good name. Washington football. Minnesota. That's a team that so many of these old. So every time I think the Big Ten has changed, it's all about the trenches and 10 yards in a cloud of dust thing, and then you're going to play Minnesota, and you're like, okay, this is one of those 10 yards in a cloud of dust, grind it out.
Yeah,
football games. But then. There is a run here that Ohio State, if you're Jeremiah Smith, you're going to get some opportunities here. You're going to play Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue. You're going to play a lot of teams where there's going to be some eyeballs on you, and you're going to be able to put up some numbers. I would look at that Illinois game and say, if Jeremiah Smith can put up, some great yardage against Ohio, Washington, and Minnesota, you go into that Illinois game October 11th, you're about halfway through your season. The narrative could change really quick. I mean, obviously, I'm an Oklahoma fan, would love to see us get another Heisman Trophy. It does seem a little unfair that Oklahoma gets to just rip off this many Heisman trophies in
it's getting out of hand.
It's 10-year span. But Jeremiah Smith is so much fun to watch. It kind of, it gives you that like Odell at LSU, type of feel where you've got a guy that like if everything just breaks down, you just throw it up.
Yeah.
You got number 4 out there, just throw it up and let him make a play on a ball. And I don't think that Ohio State, I don't think they used him as much against Texas as I think they probably would have liked.
Yeah.
But you also got a young quarterback. I think a couple of weeks removed from that game, he's a little more comfortable in the pocket. I would expect Jeremiah Smith to get a lot more targets. Other than that, I don't see anybody nationally separating themselves. I mean, obviously, we talked about there's something wrong with DJ Lagway. We're not sure what it is, but he just doesn't seem like the same person. Yeah. Lenore Sellers has put up good numbers, but maybe not the numbers that we at the early part of the year had projected for him. It's really a 2-man race. And then Jeremiah Smith may just be one of those guys where he just puts up really great numbers all year. The problem is it's kind of one of those things like you're just going to get compared to all the other Ohio State receivers. And that's an unfair place for him to be in, but it's also like just part of the way it is.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that. I don't think there is a comparison. I think
talent-wise, I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Smith is the best receiver that we've ever seen come through Ohio State. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's those two quarterbacks, and then Jeremiah Love was at the top of my list, at the beginning of the season. But again, where was he week 1? What happened there? They were off last week, so he didn't have a chance to really redeem himself. So he can enter the conversation this week. But I mean, as of right now, it's just those two. My dad puts in the chat, morning dad, Taylon Green, shouting out the Razorbacks quarterback. He has been playing some really good football this year. I think Arkansas has been kind of shocking some people. If he does, like my dad's saying here, if he does go out and have a really big game against Ole Miss tonight, which we both kind of think that might actually be what happens tonight, he could enter that conversation. He could absolutely be, one of the top 5 names if he goes out and has kind of a Heisman moment type game tonight against Arkansas's unranked against a ranked opponent in Ole Miss. So yeah, it is a weird. I mean, it feels like this has kind of been the case for a couple of years now, where we haven't really had a player like separate themselves in the Heisman conversation. Like the last 2 Heismans, I feel like the winner hasn't like won it running away. It's been like a weird, like, I guess you were probably the best player in college football this year, so I guess you can win it. It's kind of been that way for a couple of years. Like I want to see a season where we have a player that just runs away with it, like Tim Tebow or Cam Newton or Johnny Manziel. Like, give us one of those types of seasons from someone, and it's only week 3, so there might be some more people, make a case for that over the next couple of weeks. But so far this year, it's just been John Mateer and Garrett Nussmeier. And if I had to pick one of the two right now, it's John Mateer.
Yeah, I just hope when the college football gods are listening and give us Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer last game of the year. Both these guys are neck and neck going into Norman.
Neck and neck, both undefeated.
Yeah. Come on. College football gods, if you love us, Oklahoma LSU will be the biggest game of the year with 2 guys battling it out for who's going to take home the Heisman Trophy. Please make that happen. Please, 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 please.
Yeah. And to your point, Julian Sand has started picking up some odds on some of these betting sites for the Heisman odds. Ohio State, the young quarterback, looks every bit the part. I mean, yes, last week was against Grambling State. A ball didn't touch the ground.
Right.
He had one incompletion, but technically it was an interception. He waited way too long to throw a deep out route. But a ball didn't touch the ground last week. So if he can take care of the football and spread it around and not just only feed Jeremiah Smith, get the ball to Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, they've got, I mean, those are 2 other 5-star out of high school wide receivers. So, he's got a lot of people to play with there. So it could get interesting, halfway through the season. But right now, like I said, it's a 2-man race.
Real quick, before we get our guest on, let's pick some of these games. Alabama, Wisconsin. I don't think obviously Alabama should win this game. They should win this game going away. I'm just looking for consistency. We were talking about I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for discipline, which are two words that I never thought I was going to have to say when it came to Alabama, that I want to see discipline and consistency. But unfortunately, that's where we're at with the DeBoer era of Alabama. I'm going to take Alabama in this one by at least 14. I don't think it stays close down the stretch, but I wouldn't be shocked if Wisconsin going into halftime keeps this one close by just pounding it out, by beating up on Alabama, because obviously there's something going on in the trenches. Alabama doesn't have what they had. I don't know if it's a player. I don't know if it's an X's and O's or it's a Jimmy Jin Joe's thing. I don't know if it's a culture thing. But I see Alabama running away with this one by at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Bama's favored by 20.5 points. And, like we said at the top of the show, the over-under is only 45.5. So this is going to be an interesting game, according to Vegas. I'm going to take Alabama in this one, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I don't think they cover. I think Wisconsin kind of says, like, hey, Luke Fickell might be coaching for his job, honestly, this season. So I think he's going to have Wisconsin ready to go in this football game.
All right, number 6, Georgia. Number 15, Tennessee. I didn't believe in Tennessee at the beginning of the year. I didn't know what they had at quarterback. No one else did, so I don't feel bad. I don't think anybody nationally was excited to see Nico leave. They thought Tennessee was going to take a step back. No, Joey Aguilar is the guy at Tennessee. Heupel's got that thing working. He's got that thing plugged in. I'm with you. I would like to say that, Georgia's defense wins out in this. For whatever reason, I see Tennessee winning this one in a close one. Could be a field goal. Could come down to, 1 or 2 drives. It also could come down to what team can create mistakes. Tennessee, not necessarily a team that, is crazy on offense. I think I lost my camera. Hold on. Let me get myself back here. Oh, no. I've lost the camera somewhere.
Did your battery die?
That would be how today's going.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun football game. I think the fact that it's in Neyland Stadium is going to play a major part in this game. I think Georgia shows up, but I think Tennessee actually comes out and shows we are also in the upper echelon of the SEC this week. So, I mean, give me the Vols at home. That's who I'm going to take in this game. Give me Tennessee in this one. Georgia's favored by 3.5, but I'm going to take the Vols to upset, quote unquote.
Yeah, I don't think it ends up being a big upset, but I mean, obviously, Georgia ranked top 10 in the AP, which we don't have to talk about on the show, but apparently, according to some AP voters, that doesn't matter. They just pick whoever they feel like picking.
Yeah.
South Florida, Miami. I want so bad to take South Florida, but I am going to do the chalk thing and say that South Florida's luck runs out. Even though I do think they're a good football team, I think Miami wins. I do think it's going to be closer than people think. And if South Florida can keep it close going into the fourth quarter, who knows? But I'm going to take Miami by 7.
I like that. I'm feeling the exact same way. I think South Florida is a lot better than people think they are, and this will give us a chance to really learn how good Miami actually is. So I'm going to take South Florida plus 17.5. I don't think Miami covers in this one. So I think it is a lot closer than the odds makers have it. Go Bulls, though, man. Pulling for the Bulls all year this year. I don't know how they do there. Do they do like I don't even know what it looks like for them. Did we lose Aaron? Yeah, they do this thing, kind of a lot like Texas and stuff like that. So yeah, give me the Bulls in this one. I think that's going to be a fun football game. While we try and get Aaron back here, again, I'm not live from Pro Dreams at Death Valley there in Baton Rouge, but we are going to be taking over Tailgate Takeover this week. Today at Death Valley, leading up to the LSU Florida game. It should be a good game down there in Baton Rouge. It's going to be a ruckus crowd, big environment. Should have been a better game. Should have been a closer game than we thought it was going to be. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to be a LSU big time this week. So make sure you tune in for that later this afternoon. I think that's going to start around 2:00, if I'm not mistaken. But that's where we're going to land on that one. So be sure to come hang out with us at Pro Dreams and
we're at a
follow the
studio.
show.
Can you tell we're at a studio?
Yeah. But yeah, so was just talking about being live from Pro Dreams today, and the tailgate takeover this afternoon. So,
all right, last game we're gonna pick, and then we got a special guest gonna pop in, and we're gonna talk a little LSU, talk a little memorabilia game. What's going on here in Pro Dreams here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana? Texas A&M, Notre Dame, number 16 Texas A&M, number 8 Notre Dame. Notre Dame, obviously, we were talking about didn't play last week, so they've got some time to kind of lick their wounds and figure out what's going on. It's South Bend. It's going to be loud. A&M maybe is used to that, but there is something. Maybe just because I'm an old school like college football head, there is something about like you're playing at Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus, South Bend, the whole deal. I don't know if that means anything to like young guys.
Yeah.
Today. I don't know if that means anything, but it is cool. Like gold helmets, the whole deal. It is really cool. I would love to be able to take A&M in this one, but I believe in Marcus Freeman. I think Notre Dame's got the coaching. On their side of this, I think they're in a better position there. But A&M has played really, really well. Like,
yeah,
they've really done good. The problem is we always just are waiting for the when is A&M going to be the 8-4 team that we think they are? Well, we're going to probably find out today.
Yep. I agree 100%. Notre Dame's favored by 6.5 points total, set at 49.5. So this one will be interesting. I think Notre Dame wins this one by double digits, maybe just 10 points. Give me the Catholics in this one. I'm just like never. I know a lot of people feel this way about Notre Dame. Kind of being consistently overrated because they get that Notre Dame bump. We kind of talked about that earlier in the show. I think Texas A&M gets a little bit of the same thing year in and year out. They're not as good as they always are predicted to be every single year. So, yeah, give me Notre Dame in this one.
Am I back, by the way? Did we solve my tech issue here?
I think we did.
All right. Our producer that shall not be named, who also carries my last name, it's in the chat. Thank you for keeping us accountable. Thank you.
Yeah, you're there.
All right. Let's see if we can get this thing working here. Let's see if I remember how to just add an extra camera. All this tech and nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Like I said, we are live from Death Valley this morning. Pro Dreams, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Welcome to the show. Trey, what's up, brother?
Can I get some fireworks next time I log in? Can I get some fireworks next time I log in? Like some lasers.
Some intro music.
Some intro.
Get you the Undertaker's intro music for the next time you show up.
Yeah, don't make it weird.
Trey is our lovely host. This is week 2 for us here, the Watch Up Sports Tailgate Takeover. Trey, I know you saw on social media, because probably everybody did. I am here, and this is my Jordan flu game for real. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, Trey, so this may be news to you. I am actively, as we are sitting here, fighting a kidney stone. That is how bad I want to be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana today.
Does it hurt when you pee?
Really bad.
Oh, my goodness.
It's incredibly painful.
Dedication and love for the game. But there's no crying in sports radio.
Listen, no, and college football stops for no one.
That is facts.
Except COVID.
True. Except COVID. We are at Pro Dreams. Hey, brother, tell us a little bit about Pro Dreams.
So Pro Dreams has been a dream of mine. Gosh, did I just go on brand with that? Since I was 15 years old. Been a collector my entire life and started getting autographs, chasing guys in hotels. I was the little weirdo kid standing out in front of a hotel and chasing guys in bathrooms. The stories get kind of weird after that. But I started just for the love of the game and wanted to be professional at it and really started making a name for myself in the memorabilia world. And it kind of put me through college, and that grew into just kind of finding a niche where people needed memorabilia to raise money in auctions, kind of a host of different reasons of how we ended up in the auction world. But now we're the largest service provider for charity events and galas in the South. We just built a 3,600 square foot facility here for podcasting and signings, and we do everything in stadium for LSU. We've worked with the Bengals before. We've done Jacksonville Jaguars before. So we've done Ole Miss. So kind of all over the country with memorabilia auctions and different fundraisers and charity events. We're the official auction company for LSU, 10 Hall of Fames. That ranges from Louisiana, New Orleans Saints, College Baseball Hall of Fame across the whole country. So it's been a fun ride, and now we're here.
So we talked about this a little bit last week on the show. What it makes LSU unique, and especially for your business, is like this isn't just a football school. And when you walk around this place, you see just the dedication to the other sports at LSU. What is the number one like item that maybe people or sport that people would be shocked that LSU fans are craving from a memorabilia standpoint?
I wouldn't call it one item. I would call it a genre of items. So I always tell people that we sell a memory, right? Like everybody has that one moment in sports, that one moment in time that just kind of took you back to, I was there at that game, or I was there at that moment. So I would say anything that we sell that is a moment related, photo or helmet or inscription from the player. For an example, a 16x20 is very popular this week with Jacob Hester. Went down and beat Florida 4 times. They went for it on 4th down, ended up scoring the game-winning touchdown. And there's kind of a very famous moment of him stretching over the goal line. So he signs that with the STTTB inscription, which I don't know what type of family show this is, but you can Google what STTTB means, and it is a very popular autographed item this week.
All right. So, Strez, I don't know if you got anything, but I do have one question that I absolutely have to ask. What is the weirdest memorabilia item that you have in the store?
Do we want to do like a show and tell?
I would love to, if you want to do a show and tell.
Let's do that.
Hey, go in that room in there. In that main case, there's a duffel bag. You got to go behind the counter, roll the counter back, bring me the duffel bag.
Dang, this is like, he's got this thing on like lockdown. I'm very eager to see what this is.
So here at Pro Dreams, you can find us at pro-dreams.com. We have some of the most unique memorabilia. It's not just sports. We have a lot of pop culture stuff I'm looking at something signed by Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox from Back to the Future. We have a Randy Quaid 16x20 sign that says "Shitters Full." I'm actually just calling
Merry
out
Christmas
right here on the camera. You can see it behind it. Is my finger. Oh, this is going to get really weird. All right, so this part right here in the bottom right hand of your corner is a diver's helmet, and it's signed by Robert O'Neill, who was the guy who shot and killed Osama bin Laden. So pretty crazy piece. But you asked for something weird and kind of oogie. So this is a duffel bag right here. We'll bring up the duffel bag on my camera. It is certified by the family and also picture certified that this is Chris Farley's duffel bag before he went into rehab and died. This was his travel bag. And this is the airline ticket that is still attached to said bag with Chris Farley's name on it for American Airlines. This was a couple weeks before he died.
That is wild.
That is unbelievable.
So you asked for something weird. This is a as game worn, let's call it rehab worn duffel bag by Chris Farley, who was infamously made famous by saying, "Down by the river." I don't know if y'all remember that.
Oh yeah. I've watched the best of Chris Farley SNL probably more times than I'm okay with admitting. I've memorized so many of his best skits. Yeah, Chris Farley was awesome. That's such a cool piece.
Well, I would be remiss if we didn't ask you, what do you think of LSU football this year? Week 1, week 2, 2 very different weeks. Yeah. But how are you feeling going into week 3?
So I will tell you that being in the memorabilia business, I'm always riding the wave and the hype, right? Like you've always got to show your customer or let your customer live the life of they're going to win, the hoorah speech. And just because I do this every day, I don't personally get into that because it's the long game for me, right? But I really feel a real buzz around this team from some of the experts that have been doubters the last 3 or 4 years, with them saying words like the best defense they've had in 4 or 5 years, and some real football players. And what I mean by that, you're transferring guys in. They went out in the portal and spent money, and they spent quality money. They've got guys with depth right now flying around. If you watch the defense today, even last week against La Tech, it's a culture thing where hats are around the football every play. So I'm really excited about watching this defense come out. I think they're defensively strong. Offense always secondary to the defense. So I think they have a coming out party on offense the next couple of weeks. So I am personally really excited about LSU football and our chance to at least make the playoffs and make a run.
Some of the guys on Tingle & Co. last week kind of talked about this, and I've seen some LSU folks mention this on X, formerly known as Twitter. They are, for some reason, it sounds like there is this thing around LSU where now they, because they had Jaden Daniels for those years, after having a pocket passer right before him, Jay Daniels started running the ball more. People are asking Garrett Nussmeier to pull it down and run more. Where are you at on the Garrett Nussmeier stay in the pocket and pass it, or Garrett Nussmeier, would you please run the ball for us, please? We miss seeing that. Where do you land there?
I think with Cade Durham running the football, I don't think you need to put our number one asset in between the tackles. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think Garrett is Jaden Daniels in that aspect. I will say this, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, and I'm stealing this from somebody, so I don't want to sound like a football guru, but I don't think Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman if we are not historically bad on defense, right? So if you're talking about scheme, if you're talking about someone that has to run the football out of the pocket because our defense is giving up 40 points a game and you've got to throw it or you've got to escape the pocket, I just don't think he wins the Heisman. I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm just saying other that are putting up PlayStation numbers because they're playing Middle Tennessee State or something, like winning the Heisman in the SEC is an unbelievable achievement on the number side of it. So a lot of people are saying, oh, Nuss is going to win the Heisman. I don't think with his defense you win the Heisman because you're going to be running the ball 40, 50 times a game.
That's a good take. I mean, I hadn't even thought about it. Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, it makes sense why Oklahoma had back-to-back Heisman trophies because their defense was so bad.
Yeah, no. If you look historically, if you go back, that teams are putting up PlayStation numbers because they're playing the not so strong SEC schedule, and their defenses are giving up 40 points a game. So you have to throw the football. So I don't know. I think it would be a tough climb for Nussmeier because you're going to get in a game where you got to run the ball out for the last fourth quarter, and you just don't put up a lot of quarterback numbers doing football that way.
So Strez and I were wishing, I know you heard, we were wishing the football gods that going into the last game of the year, it's Oklahoma, LSU, both undefeated, both quarterbacks.
Fun game to watch, though.
How crazy would it get around here if that was what it looked like with two programs who have a little history, but not really like a ton of history, but they're two fan bases that, man, they love football a lot more than they probably should.
Didn't LSU beat Oklahoma the last couple of times we played them? One for a playoff and one for a natty, right?
We did.
Yeah. Both in the Dome? No, just once in the Dome.
I think once in the Dome.
And once in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get past the first couple of weeks in the SEC to see if that game lines up. We just got a tough road to hoe. I mean, it's the SEC. And then going to the 9-game schedule, like, I feel like you're going to have a national championship team with 4 losses.
Hey, we talked about it at the beginning of the year that I can't remember who it was. It may have been Sark at Texas that said, hey, the days of one loss, national championship teams is probably over.
It's over. I don't see an undefeated team unless you got a really weird team sneaking up that doesn't have a strength of schedule, right? That sneaks into it some kind of way. But I really don't think an undefeated team in the national championship is a thing anymore.
Which it's okay.
Which is fine, right?
At the NFL level, we never get all that jazzed up about an undefeated team.
Yeah, it's happened like
every 10 years.
There've been like 2 undefeated teams play in a Super Bowl in the last 40 years.
And who was the last one that played and didn't they lose?
They did.
To the Giants, right?
Yep.
To a 4-loss team.
Yep.
Yeah, that peaking at the right time is probably a real thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm divorced twice. I peaked too early.
All right, Trey, let us know where people can find you here in Baton Rouge and where they can find you online.
Do I put on my radio spot voice?
Do it, man.
3930 Burbank Drive right here in Baton Rouge. Check us out, pro-dreams.com. We're a full-service retail dealer and sports memorabilia company right here in the shadows of Tiger Stadium. Go Tigers.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is literally in the shadows of Death Valley. It's going to be rocking. Tonight, Florida is going to be in town. Come on by. If you're here, we're going to be back live at 3:00 with the boys from Tingle & Co. Also, TCU QB legend. That's right. That's right. We have a college football legend that's going to be on the show with us tonight, Trayvon Boykin. If you don't know him, Google him. His numbers at TCU are legendary.
Stupid numbers.
And I know this because he beat my Sooners a couple of times, and it really was a tough thing to take. But he'll be live with us as well. We'll be here at Pro Dreams for pretty much the rest of the day. We'll also be doing some watch-alongs tonight for the game. So you can come on by, spend some money, have some fun, come say hi to us, and get all your memorabilia needs, please.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, buddy. All right, we will be back at 3:00. Strez, we'll see if our picks were any good. We'll see what happens. I think we did a decent job, but who knows? South Florida could once again go in this week and prove all of us wrong.
Honestly, kind of hoping for that. That'd be so fun.
I would love it. I would love it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to us here on the WaterBoys and on Washed Up Sports. Also, let us know what your thoughts are on the games. We'll be live again a couple of times today. Make sure to tune in and go follow us all over social media. It means a lot to us. Thank you very much.
Happy football.
Happy football, everybody.